Silverberg. So, to be honest, I really want to have a small talk about Puerto Rico, but the only learning point is that we're awesome. So, I decide to talk about other stuff. So, today I'm going to have a small talk about atmospheric events and the impact on the practice of emergency medicine, especially how this impacts the healthcare system, the community, and the individuals per se. So the objectives of my lecture are understanding the atmospheric events repercussions in the health system, also comprehend the threat of the injuries and fatalities seen in the ED after an atmospheric event, and define the long-term consequences of atmospheric events also. So for bringing this subject to our reality and our near past, I'm going to use Sandy and Maria hurricane as examples. And I saw a few Puerto Ricans today around, like Nyla's here and Michael, also one of the students. So if you have any histories or experience that you want to talk during the presentation, you can stop me also. So first, I'm going to say that Sandy was a superstorm that made landfall in New Jersey on October 29, 2012 with 80 miles per hour winds. And despite being a superstorm, it caused a lot of damage, and we're just going to summarize a little bit the impacts of Sandy in New York. So I'm going to mention that not everyone agrees in these numbers, but that was the rough numbers that I found. So they say that there's like 43 deaths after the storm aftermath. Also, they say that more than 6,000 patients were evacuated from the hospitals and the nursing homes also. More than 19,000 buildings were in the inundation zone. Also, more than 1.1 million of children from New York City were unable to attend school after the storm. And around 2 million people were without power after the superstorm also. And more than $19 billion in damage after the storm also. So now I just want to bring Maria to the subject also. So Hurricane Maria was the worst storm to hit Puerto Rico in over 80 years. The hurricane may fall on Puerto Rico on September 20 of 2017. Tomorrow is going to be 1 year actually after the storm. And was a high-end category 4 hurricane with winds of more than 155 miles per hour, devastating a already defeated island because a few months, I think 1 month before, they have also Hurricane Irma. So it's a lot. So now I'm going to summarize the consequences also. So there's papers that say that more than 3,000 people died after the hurricane, but there's also Harvard, like recently also published another paper that say that around 4,000 people died after the hurricane. And this is a photo of that's an art expression representing how many people died that the government is trying to deny after the storm. So, more than $90 billion in damage also. After the storm, 100% of the island was without power. And on average, the island spent 80 days without electricity, 69 in hospital without electricity, 68 days without water, and 41 days without any phone or communication outside the island. And more than 243 schools were closed after the storm also. And important to mention that after the hurricane, more than 135,000 people, Puerto Ricans, migrated to the United States, especially the working class and the young adults also. And let me see if I can show this. This is a small video. This is our only trauma center in Puerto Rico and how it was working after the storm. Just very quick. Listen, good. like completely dark. And that was just the normal day in the hospital. And I have few friends that are residents in there, and they told me when they ran out of power, they were biting people, because sometimes the generators don't work for a while after the power goes down. So there's like quiet stories that they told me, but I don't want to go into that. I know how to remember. Okay. So why this affect us like emergency physician? So after an atmospheric event, we're gonna see immediate and short-term impact and also long-term consequence in the health system. And because we're the first ones, we're always in the first floor, I think that we're gonna experiment in this more acutely. So there's a medium and long-term consequence that I just wanna mention quickly. Then I'm gonna go into depth of them. So there's disruption of the service of the hospitals. Also, there is reduced ability to access the healthcare system, also like medicines and items that you need to survive. Also, it's going to be an increased risk of infectious diseases also. And also, there's going to be a lot of like mental health stress after this situation. So, immediately, of course, that we're going to have like death and trauma and drowning, that people are going to die immediately during the hurricane or like hours after. But the most EDVSs that we're going to have are going to be secondary to infections, especially open wounds, that because people are trying to clean and move all the debris. So there's going to be puncture wounds. There's going to be also a lot of like cellulitis with MRSA also, and behavior also. And there's going to be also tinea, folliculitis, and as I already open wounds, like big open wounds that people usually don't go to the hospital because they just want to help and make sure that everyone is safe and okay. Due to the limited access to food, contamination of the water, and the presence of waste, the presence of other pollution, we're going to have a lot of GI infections and diarrhea, especially cholera, Shigella, Salmonella, E. coli, crypto. Also we can have hepatitis A and E. And due to especially the contamination of the water and the feces of the rodent in the water, we can have also a lot of cases of leptospirosis. Natural disasters, particularly hurricanes and flooding, can also affect the vector-breeding sites and vector-borne diseases transmission, while the initial flooding may wash away all the existing mosquito-breeding sites. Standing water caused by the heavy rainfall or overflow of the rivers are going to create new breeding sites. Example of this is dengue, Zika, chikungunya. That is like really common, especially in the Caribbean. And due to the limited access to the services, people trapped in the disaster zones, power failure, the emergency phone numbers sometimes don't work. There's no access to medications. Also, there's going to be an acute exacerbation of the chronic diseases that are going to end up in death also. People with diabetes without any access to insulin, people with end-stage renal disease without any hemodialysis for weeks, asthma, COPD exacerbation, cancer cases without any treatment, multiple other chronic diseases. Also to mention that the increased visits to the ED due to acute exacerbation of mental health disorders like depression, PTSD, anxiety, suicidal attempts, and others. I have few friends in Puerto Rico that their family died after the storm because they were unable to have dialysis for weeks because the center were down. So, kind of important. Also, important to mention that after the storm, you can also have a lot of like carbon monoxide poisoning due to the presence of continuous use of the generators. So I kind of like went like quickly all over the short terms and consequences. So now I just want to go and talk about also long-term consequences. Of course, are completely intertwined. So they're like really bad, and I think that sometimes many people cry for help. So when you have a natural disaster, this is a humanitarian crisis that is going to cause an economic collapse. It's going to be also overuse of the social services. There's also migration of the economic force, especially the young adult and professional people. There's also going to be changing the landscape, and it's going to decrease the tourism. Very important, especially for a small island like Puerto Rico. Also, will be water pollution, and studies say that after more than 25 years after being hit by a storm, the economics of a country typically are not fully recovered after. So it takes a lot of years to recover. So long-term consequence, there's going to be an increase in the ED visit and medical expenses because whatever is left in the system is going to be used as a safety net. People are going to come to the ED just looking for help. Also, there's going to be also a lot of like chronic diseases, like I mentioned already, that is going to result in death and it's going to increase the statistic of the death of a country. Also, there's going to be shelter crowdings and increase of the homeless population, mental health deterioration. Also, I just like bring a lot of the mental health deterioration because I remember that when the storm passed and after 14 days of without talking with my mom after the storm, the first thing that she told me is after I talked to her is I'm completely anxious, I just can't handle this. We were living in Ireland I was living there for more than 26 years, and she told me that she never experienced something like Hurricane Maria that was very scary. And she spent all the storm crying, all the time and yelling. Every time that she felt that it's another wind, she just like crying and she wasn't able to handle it properly. So I want to also mention that as in everything, there's also positive consequences. There's economic recovery with new ways of generating money. People do a lot of crazy stuff to survive, and new innovations also. There's also always like humanitarian movement to aid in the disaster. There's community engagement also that will help each other. As I mentioned already, there's new innovation for survival, and people learn how to be resilient and make the best of a really bad situation. And that happened a lot in Puerto Rico. Another example, my family is really big, so my mother had 15 siblings, and they moved all together to a country house that we have because there was water in there. And every day they were like cooking together outside with fire and wood, and they were like doing laundry in the river, like cleaning all the clothes of everyone to survive and have clean clothes. So this is my presentation. It's like small talk. So if you have any questions or you want to say something, this is the moment.
What kind of people do now that they're not as independent? There's parts of addiction and there's still a lot that needs to be done. What can you tell workers?
It's just,
are there groups that are still going out there?
Yeah. It's like people are trying to do stuff, but it's really hard also because there's a lot of like control by the government. So recently they found a lot of water in the airport because they were not distributing things around. And I was really glad when people were helping Puerto Rico, but one of the things is that everything was staying in San Juan, and especially in the metropolitan area. And the people that actually were needing the most, that was in the middle of the island, like in the mountains, they were not receiving anything. So it's really hard to say what we can do now. When I went there like a few months ago and then 2 weeks also, and it's really sad, it's not the same. And especially like people are gonna go now and say, this is a beautiful country, but for me, that I lived there all my life, it's completely different. But I think that maybe like communicate with people that are actually doing stuff and like kind of like jump all the government agencies and all that stuff because that is not working. So I just like go directly to small groups that are actually doing stuff in there.
I think that the main problem that we're having is that our safety nets were also broken in the hurricane. So I trained in the Puerto Rico Medical Center and the University of Puerto Rico Hospital, and we were the safety net of the entire island. So what happens when that breaks also? When you break that system into breaking, collapses. And it takes time to restructure it again. Now, the main problem in Puerto Rico is that there are a lot of problems. And problems relating to particular areas, like for example, you go into the inner mountains of Puerto Rico, the problem is access to health care. Not only access because there is no doctor, but infrastructure access. So it is a great amount of problems that I don't really know myself where to start. I went there in December, went there in May, and worked with a lot of organizations there, helped out to develop a plan for several communities in St. Juan for hurricane prevention. I still don't have an idea of how to fix the problem. But it's something I can emphasize, is what Carolina has been emphasizing. It's the emotional and, how can I say this, the emotional weight that the hurricane has put on us, even those who live outside the island. And for example, I'm not gonna lie, when this hurricane came in, I collapsed, literally.
Eddie, say that through, we cried for this.
We cried for days, I cried there. And think about this, my dad is a psychiatrist. His action was, after the hurricane, opening the office immediately to try to get the patients in to vent what was going on so they wouldn't be as sick, as unstable. And my dad sadly absorbed all that without having the proper barriers set up to prevent those things from harming them. So when he comes to New York, I find a man who's been like the core of my life, like having lost 15 pounds, collapsing on my bed crying. You're talking about a man who hasn't cried only twice in my life, with my grandfather and my grandmother. This is how the hurricane has affected us. He has created me a PTSD that I would compare to 9/11 events in New York. There's no way any one of us can deny that we have this. So even us here, outside, even if we're there, I would say the emotional weight that it has put on us is one of the main things that has to be dealt with, because this has also become an issue. This is one of the main issues. And I think it's a good starting point is in fact that programs in hurricane recovery, because, hey, facts, hurricanes are going to come more to England. Global warming, welcome to the new era. You're going to get more hurricanes than Florence and Sandy, Katrina here. One of the things that we have to also understand as physicians, as emergency physicians, we're going to see a lot of suicides, people extremely depressed, psychotic, and that we have to develop programs eventually to deal with the immediate and the long-term consequences that the hurricanes pose to the emotional well-being of the population.
So I think that Eddie said all my take some points, but I'm just gonna go ahead and a little bit. So injuries during a disaster don't only come from direct injury. It's gonna be a lot of secondary to the power failure, spread of illnesses and contamination of the water. This also is gonna be an increase in deaths due to the health system collapse after the hurricane. There's also increase in ED visits due to exacerbation of chronic disorders and mental health disorders. And also, especially in Puerto Rico, there was a lot of migration and of the young people and professional people, and this is going to work. It's going to make the island worse because we already had a very bad economic. So losing all these people is actually worse for us. So that's it. That's my reference. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any other thing to say.
Great job. If anybody else would like to get interested, there's a book called 5 Days of Memorial, and it's written by a physician basically after the treatment of one of the hospitals. And it kind of deals with not just like on the ground decisions that we have to make, the emotional aftermath, having to choose what medications we have to make, basically do that, do body transfer. And I don't know if any other people are probably here, but when Superstorm started to hit, NYU, the whole, they lost their